Chimwemwe Nqumayo. I am a third year student studying pharmacy here in Morocco at Mohammed Faith Faculty of Medicine and Pharmacy. And I will be presenting to you pharmacy under the new system. To begin with, pharmacy is a course that is spread out over 6 years. And in addition to those 6 years, there is 1 year of thesis, which is simply research. So I'd like to give a brief description, but before I give this brief description, I'd just like to say at the end of these 6 years, you will not simply be a pharmacist who gives out drugs over the counter or simply reads prescriptions. You will be a fully formed pharmacist that will be able to fabricate drugs from plants or synthetic substances. And yeah, it will also include you giving medicines over the counter. It will include you reading prescriptions, but I just wanted to make it clear that it will not only be that, but it will be so much more. Fabricating medicine, you could do research, all that is included. So a little description. Pharmacy is an exceptional course that mixes science, mostly chemistry. So I'd advise you to be a chemistry lover if you are going to study pharmacy. So it mixes chemistry and medicine which includes, of course, biology, as we know, a little bit of physics and other courses. Then for the school system, we have in first and second year, we have we basically have foundation courses. So as I've said here, first and second year are a bit vague because they are mostly foundation, and the students will be exposed to fundamentals of biology, chemistry, and elements of general medicine, which include, among others, anatomy, histology, physiology, and of course many other modules. It is only from third year that the students will be able to fully understand what pharmacy is really about, because starting from third year, we have the fundamentals of pharmacy, not the fundamentals of basic biology, chemistry. Now it is fundamentals of pharmacy starting from third year all the way up to sixth year. Then we have 2 semesters per year, and we have trois stages obligatoires, which is, well, stage is simply internship. So we have 3 compulsory internship programs. The first one being at the end of second year, and it's done in the officing. The officing is just simply a pharmacy, as it is not a pharmacy in the hospital, but just a pharmacy, like a pharmacy that you would find in the street. And then the second stage or second internship is at the end of fourth year, and it is done in the hospital. Then in fifth year, well, as you'll be learning in fifth year, you'll be having this internship. As you'll be learning, it will not be at the end of fifth year, but it will be during your learning process. So we have what they call clinical stage, which is also done in the hospital. So clinical stage is simply a pharmacist being at the bedside of a patient and monitoring their intake of drugs, side effects, and everything that come with the drugs that they're taking. Then here we have validation of a module. Validation in simple terms is clearing. So to clear a course, you need a score of 10 out of 20 or above. So we have certain courses in a common block. By common block here, we mean courses that are under the same department. They usually compensate each other. So by compensating, well, compensation works in a way that, for example, well, I'll give an example. We can have, say you have a score of 10 for that module. To compensate another part of that block, you have to have 7 and not below 7 to compensate. So if you get 10, it's okay for you to get 7 in another module that is under the same block. So it's only apart starting from 7. If you get below 7, you will not be able to compensate. Therefore, you will not be able to clear that module. But if you do get 7, and then in the other part of the block you have a 10, you will be able to clear that module. I'm I'm sure that's not very clear, but it will be explained when you come here. You will understand better when you get here. Then we have oh, before I go to the other points, I'd just like to mention that we have for the school system, we have what we call cours magistraux. Cours magistraux is basically just classes. That's just classes. Professors teaching you normal lessons as they are. Then we have travaux pratiques, which is practicals in the lab or wherever. Then we also have what we call travaux dirigés. So travaux dirigés is simply exercises that you would do with your professors, and usually the practicals and these exercises that you do are compulsory. Attendance is compulsory, but for the other classes, attendance is not compulsory, but I still advise you to attend all classes. Yes, so TPs, which is practicals, usually make up 50% of the final mark. Well, this percentage is usually dependent on the course or the professor, but I'll just advise you to make sure you do your best in the practicals. Don't neglect the practicals, they're very, very important. Apart from them being important for your final mark, they're important for your formation as a pharmacist. Then we have what we call rattrapage. Rattrapage is simply repeating. You repeat a course. Say you don't manage to get this score of 10 or above. If you get below 10 and then there is nothing else that can compensate that 10 well, yeah, you don't have anything else to compensate that mark below 10, you will go for what they call rattrapage. So rattrapage is, yeah, you simply go for an exam, like after all your exams are done, you go for rattrapage and you write other exams, and the results of which you only see at the end of the academic year. And then, so failure to validate even after rattrapage means you carry the course to the next academic year. Before I go any further, I would just like to, I don't think I mentioned, but I'd just like to mention that all exams are at the end of each semester, with the exception of practical exams. Well, right now with COVID, the situation is a bit different, but under normal circumstances, we have practical exams during the semester. At the end of all your practical sessions, you will have an exam. That is normally how it's supposed to be. But with COVID right now, we are having exams, final exams, and final practical exams at the same time. So everything is happening at the end of the semester. Then for specialization, excuse me, specialization, which can be done, of course, upon completion of these 6 years, after all these 6 years. So after sixth year, students can specialize into a given field. So some of the specialties, I'll list them down here. So one can specialize in clinical or hospital pharmacy, biology, so you could become a biologist, well, what they call pharmacien biologist, and you can actually own an analysis laboratory. You can also specialize into industrial pharmacy, and I did not write it here, but you can also go into research which involves, discovering new molecules, new medicines, and all that stuff. I will not go into details on that. Then we have specialization exams, which are done in sixth year, but they are not obligatory. So for more details on that, well, if you want, the details on these specialization exams will be given once you get here. And also, I'd like to say I did not include it, but in sixth year has no classes at all. So in sixth year, what is done is only internship. So in sixth year, we have either 3 or 4 internships. We have internship at officing, which is pharmacy, as I said earlier. Mm, internship in the hospital, internship in the industry as well, and internship in a laboratory. But the internship in a laboratory is not compulsory. It's something that's been removed, but can still be done. It's according to what the student wants to do. So I will end this with just a bit of advice for a first year pharmacy student. First of all, make objectives. Make sure you know I like to use this system of a to-do list. So, well, a to-do list is sort of you making objectives, not only making objectives of school things, but making objectives of simply everything that you have to do, of simply everything you have to do. So just make sure you outline your day properly. As a student, well, this not only applies to pharmacy, but just as a student in any field, you have to make objectives. You have to tell yourself, by this and this time I would have attained this, I would have attained this, I would have attained that. Just make objectives, okay? Then if you do not understand, ask someone who has an idea. If that person, well, yeah, of course, this is clear. If you do not understand something, ask someone who has an idea. Do not be afraid to ask. There are a lot of seniors that you can ask. Of course, in the pharmacy field right now, there's not many seniors. There's not many Zambian seniors, but we do have students from other countries that can also be consulted. But as at now, I'm at your disposition. Disposal. Yes, I'm at your disposal. Also, I'd advise you to stay focused at all times. Of course, you need some time off, but don't forget that school is should be one of your priorities. So stay focused, play a little, but stay focused, because I'm sure we all know the saying that goes, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. But then Jack also needs to remain focused. So also try to go through what you learn on the same day, because piling up work is not good, believe me. So here, procrastination, just try to avoid procrastinating. Don't pile up work. Don't say you will do this work at the end of the semester when exams are nearby. Trust me, you will be in panic mode and you will not manage to properly assimilate your classes. First of all, be reminded that these classes will be carried out in French. French is not your first language. Not that I'm discouraging you or anything, but just try to go through what you learn the same day so that you can be able to assimilate it, so that by the time you'll be studying for your exams, you will not only be you will not be studying things that you've never seen before. You'll be studying things that you've already seen. So in your memory, they're there. You did this thing, so it will be easier for you to keep it in your head, and it will be easier. The exams will be easier for you that way. Yeah. So the next point: study extremely hard. And language is key, so you have to know the French language, well, which will kind of bring me back to the previous point. But yeah, the language is really important, because as I said, French isn't our first language, so you really have to study hard. Just try your best to study hard. Mhm. Also, lastly, I would advise you to get familiar with the school system as soon as possible. As soon as possible here entails entails when you come here, get familiar with the school system. pharmacy school system, all the things I haven't mentioned in this video, get familiar with them. I'm sure I did mention at some point in this video, you will know about this when you come. So all those details, get them when you come here to study pharmacy. So, well, and I added this other slide just to give you a basic outline of pharmacy. Yeah. So these things are in French. I don't think I'll read them, so I'll just leave them there for you to read. But it's a basic outline. It's almost, well, it's simply the same as what I told you. But yeah, here on this part with the little blocks in green, they've included these other things, which are the specialization exams that I was talking about, but I did not go into details on them. Those are the things that you have to find out when you get here. Yeah, so I just included this extra slide for those that would like some extra information. So there, I am done, and if there are any questions, you can contact me through the academics coordinator. My phone number will be put at your disposal through the academics coordinator. Well, before I end this, I'd just like to mention that, okay, thank you. Thank you for your attention and all the best.